Hello, welcome to Verbling. Hi there, I'm Teacher Oakley, and for the next hour, you, the students, will be answering typical questions that you might hear in part one of the IELTS speaking test. This class is part of a 3-day series. Today we're gonna look at part one, the next part two, the next day part three. Type questions. So, although this is highly recommended for those of you preparing for an IELTS test, obviously, but others taking similar tests, CAE, TOEFL, TOEIC, what have you, also great practice, or frankly, absolutely anyone who wants to practice English speaking with some detailed feedback, because I will be giving you feedback to your answers, especially in regards to how it is scored in an IELTS exam. But anyway, anybody can join the class. It's actually appropriate for anyone, whether you're preparing for IELTS or not. Okay, let me start by welcoming some folks to the class. Hello, Mai.
Hello, teacher.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, teacher. It's afternoon here. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon where I am too. Welcome to the class. Talk to you. I'll come back to you in just a second. Hello, Khaled. How are you? Hi, Khaled.
Yeah, hello, good morning. Hi, Oakley.
Morning. Morning. Welcome to the class. Nice to have you aboard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Salvatore. How are you?
Hello, Clay. Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing okay. Well, I've got a cold, to tell you the truth. If I stop,
Oh,
if I
I'm
start
sorry
making,
for that.
if I start making no sense, Salvatore, it's because of the medication. I feel a little lightheaded today. But anyway, or if I start, if in advance, let me just tell you, if I start sneezing or coughing uncontrollably, I apologize in advance, but it has been happening, so don't be surprised. Moam, welcome to the class. Hi, Moam.
Hello, okay.
Hi. How are you
Feel
today?
better.
Thank you.
I'm fine. I'm sick too.
Are you?
Yeah. I think it's almost the same as you, but I have, plus that, I have tonsil inflammation, so it's even worse.
Yeah. I just have the head cold, sneezing, and congestion and coughing. In any case, I don't think I have a fever. I think it's just a cold. Araceli, welcome to the class.
Hello, thank you. I'm sorry for your call. And
Okay.
you have to make it. It sometimes happens. All of us have been through this
Sure.
lately, I think.
Of course, it's natural. I'm sorry to hear you're sick. Might be a common way to express that, by the way, since we're in English class. So I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling well, or sorry to hear you're under the weather, feeling under the weather. Those might be common ways to talk about that, by the way. Okay, and also I'd like to welcome Jenny. Hello, Jenny.
Hi, teacher.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
Glad to hear it. Well, I've seen better days, but I'll live.
Ooh.
Feeling a little under the weather, but I'm okay. Okay. All right. Jenny, everyone else? All right, let me preface this by saying in the IELTS task one, part one of the IELTS speaking test, the number of topics is huge. In excess of 300 different possible topics, from as general as talking about where you live or your free time activities to as specific as riding a bicycle or photography or cell phones, birds, plants, flowers. These can all be topics in part one. So very general or very specific, but multitudes of topics. For those of you who are in fact actually studying for the IELTS exam, I wouldn't really recommend trying to study topics because IELTS frequently recycles topics and asks new questions, or they simply add new topics quite frequently. So it's really actually virtually impossible to be prepared for any possible topic. What you will not hear. So you can have any topic. What you absolutely won't have, they will not be asking you questions about politics, religion, or sexuality. You can just cross those off the list. They're not going to be asking you questions about these controversial topics. So forget it. No need. What you will hear for certain, and I'm going to start with the only question, there's two questions. One they usually answer and one they always, they usually ask and one they always ask. First, I'm going to start with the question they always ask. Tell me about where you're from.
I'm from Vietnam.
Okay. Now, in regards to the IELTS test, okay, for all of you, which we're practicing today, that is not a very good answer. IELTS or CAE or TOEFL or TOEIC, any of these exams could care less about the information. They don't really care what your opinion is or how bright you are or if you're a megalomaniac or some kind of psychotic criminal. They could care less. What they care about is what you're saying, how you're saying it, not what you're saying. So, in general rule, and I want you guys to try this today when it's your turn to answer a question. Go for 2. Try to make 2 points about the question. So in other words, this is a normal question, tell me about where you live. This is a normal question type, a basic description. Basic description in English, they need detail. So I need detail. Shoot for 2. Try to tell me 2 aspects, 2 reasons, 2 points, whatever. When it comes to where you're from, there's a lot of things you can say. You can talk about the economy where you're from, the climate, the geography, where it is. You can talk about the population. You can talk about transportation. Anything. So let's try that again. Tell me 2 things at least about where you live. About where you're from.
I am from Vietnam. It's in the southeast of Asia, and it's a beautiful country with nearly 90 million population.
Okay, with a population of nearly 90 million.
Yes.
Okay, is how we need to express that. Okay, now that's better than the first answer. Okay, but ideally, okay, we're working on this step by step, and that's cool. All right, ideally, you make a point and then say something with more detail about it. All right, so, okay, it's a very beautiful country. There are many beautiful vacation spots to go to, such as blah, 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 blah. I went to blah, 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 and just couldn't believe how beautiful the waterfalls were. Detail. Something like that. There's a population of 90 million. This is actually impressive because the population has doubled in the last 10 years. Yeah. Something like that. A little more detail. Okay, that's if you're practicing for IELTS, you should definitely practice that question because you're going to get that question.
Okay.
I'm gonna go on to Khaled, but first I want to Khaled, I would like to quickly welcome Tanya. Hello, Tanya.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. I'll talk to you in just a few minutes. And also welcome Fan. Hello, Fan.
Hello.
Hi, Fan.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to the class. Where are you from, Fan?
Taiwan.
Sorry?
Taiwan. Can you hear me?
Taiwan. Yes, I
Yeah.
can. Taiwan. I understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the class. Nice to have you aboard.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Khaled, now we looked at the question we're all going to get. Where are you from? There's another question that is very frequent. They start out, which is really a description question. Okay. Here it is. Khaled. Khaled, well, I know the answer, but typical question. Do you work or do you study?
I'm working. I'm working as a technical advisor for the telecommunication minister here in Libya. Yes, I graduated since 1999, so I'm considering myself an expert in IT and cybersecurity. I was the general manager for the National Information Security and Safety and Security Authority. And now I'm I'm working as a technical advisor for the minister.
Okay. Good example. Nice job, Khaled. One small correction.
Thank you.
One small correction. Use of the time word since, subordinator since. I graduated in whatever it was, 1989,
okay.
whatever it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
You can use since, but you have to restructure the sentence. I have been out of school since
Yes.
1989. So there's a way to do it, but really that's the only critique. Now he had different things to say, parallel lines of thought. Great, really great job. He was fluent, not too many pauses, no blank spaces. So he had fluency, cohesion. It was quite understandable. One idea logically followed the next. By the way, the 4 elements of scoring in IELTS, just so you know: fluency, your delivery, and cohesion. Does it stick together? It's very important to use cohesive structures, signal markers like first of all, as well, secondly, furthermore, on the other hand, things like that. What's next? Vocabulary. Vocabulary is 25% of the score. Sentence structure, 25% of the score. Sentence structure and other grammar. Frankly, as far as grammar in IELTS, or CAE for that matter, they're more concerned with verb tenses and use of complex and compound sentences. Much more emphasis on that than other things like pronouns and articles and prepositions. So they're much more worried about those things. And finally, pronunciation is the remaining 25%. So that was a very good job. One small mistake, but really that was 7.5, 8, maybe 8. I'd say 8, actually, at least, scoring. That was very good. Okay, now we're going to move on. I'm going to throw, now in the normal IELTS tests, they would kind of continue a line of questioning. There'd be a logical path more or less. And if they're going to switch to another topic, they might preface it. Now I'd like to talk to you about photography, for example. Let's go with that. Salvatore. Salvatore? Now I'd like to talk to you about photography. Salvatore, do you enjoy photography? Do you enjoy taking photographs?
Yes, I enjoyed taking photographs, especially when I went to holiday. I like to photograph the town that I visited and the monument, and also I like it take a photograph the people that live in that place where I visit.
People that live in that place
Yes.
where I visit. Okay, yep. Okay. Pretty good answer. One very good thing that Salvatore did, he paraphrased the question. I asked him, do you enjoy photography? And he said, yes, I really enjoy photography, especially when I travel. Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but what I do remember for sure is that he paraphrased the question. This is, as far as IELTS is concerned, this is a specific area of the scoring that they're looking for. They are definitely looking for your ability to paraphrase. Good job. You like taking pictures of villages where you went to holiday. It should be where you went on holiday. You go on holiday. Okay?
On holiday, okay.
Small
Okay, teacher.
preposition problem there. You go on holiday. Okay. That's great. But pretty good answer. But again, I would say you try to come up with two things to talk about. In the IELTS exam, totally unlike TOEFL exam, which is timed. TOEFL, you have 45 seconds or 1 minute to speak, and then time's up. In IELTS, you're talking with a real person, a human being, and there's an overall timing. They time the whole thing, but each question is not timed. So you can speak as much as you want. So in reality, there is no punishment. There's no you get no bad marks for talking too much. There's no such thing as talking too much. The interviewer will stop you if you've said enough. And that's great. Frankly, if you're in the IELTS test and the interviewer is stopping you, that's a good sign. That's not a bad thing. It means he's hearing what he needs to hear and he wants to move on. That's all it means. You cannot, you cannot lose points for talking too much. However, you will be definitely losing points for talking too little. No question. Okay, so that's a general point to definitely keep in mind. I thought, is Cornell here? Yeah, he is. Hi, Cornell. Welcome to the class. Howdy. Hi, Cornell. Okay, anyway, hi, Cornell. Moham, I'm going to change the topic again. Common question I asked Salvatore, do you like? This is a very common IELTS question. Okay. Imagine we were talking about food. Moham, another typical question. Are there any kinds of food that you dislike?
Yeah, I dislike any kind of food that contains meat, since I am a vegetarian. So I prefer eating vegetables. Actually, I do eat only vegetables, not just prefer. So I would say I can't eat steaks or any beef. Yeah, I hate meat. so I am vegetarian.
Okay.
I think I have repeated myself like half the time.
What's that? What was that last thing?
I think I have repeated myself like half the time. I was just repeating myself.
But you know what? That's okay. Actually, I'm glad you did that. Gives me a chance to illustrate a point. You know what? It is okay to be kind of redundant in your speech and say the same thing over, because the object of the IELTS test is to speak as much like a native as possible, and native speakers do that all the time. However, when we do it, we restructure the sentence, we rephrase it, or we use synonyms, different words with the same meaning, to give the same information over again. That's actually okay. It's actually even good, if anything. It's actually a good thing to do in an IELTS test. Bad thing to do in a TOEFL exam. I just have to say, it's very bad in a TOEFL exam because of that limited time thing. You've only got so much time to give all the information that they want in the exam. So I don't really like the TOEFL exam because it's completely, none of these exams is exactly natural, but IELTS has more of an emphasis on natural English. I have to say, Mohem did do something that was very good, and that would be his use of vocabulary. He used vegetarian, vegetables, beef. Obviously, the topic is food, and these are clearly topic-related vocabulary words. Terrific. Eating, he said, even verbs, eating, preparing. Okay, that's good. That's the way to do it. They are especially fond of topic-related vocabulary, and even more so, collocations with topic-related vocabulary. Okay, so delicious vegetables, delicious foods. I don't know, adjectives and nouns, whatever, adverbs, adjectives, verb and a preposition, whatever. Collocations, going to get high marks. In fact, one such collocation, Mohem said, I can't handle meat, beef and other types of meat. Can't handle. Very good. If you're preparing for the IELTS exam, you are going to get questions involving like or dislike. So you should cultivate a number of different ways to say like and dislike. I can't handle, I can't stand, I abhor, I detest, I hate, I dislike, I don't care for. There's lots of ways to say that. And like, I adore, I love, I'm really into, I guess my favorite is. All right. Cultivate different ways to say like and dislike, because the IELTS test generally will be asking 2 or 3 questions about like and dislike. Okay, thank you very much, Mohem. Okay, let's go on to yet another type of topic here. Okay. Araceli. All right, here we go. Yes or no question. Let's see how Araceli handles it. Araceli, do you have a cell phone?
Oh, yes, I think it's only but natural to have a cell phone nowadays. Almost everybody has one, So it's not that I am a fan of them, but I need for everyday life and for my work, so I have one.
Okay. All right. Very good. Clearly, this is a yes or no question, and they will try to trip you up in the IELTS exam by asking straightforward yes or no questions. Araceli did a pretty good job here of trying to add a little detail, talking about how it's very normal. Not that I'm a big fan, but everyone has to use. What do you use it for? Okay, this is not off topic. This is very much on topic. Trying to come up with things to say about it. Right in line with that. Good job, Araceli. Nice example.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to continue the line of thinking, talking about cell phones. Jenny, another question type. How often do you use your cell phone?
Yeah, I use my cell phone whole day and to text messages, and I use the Facebook. I I see my emails, and I do calls. Yeah, I use my cell phone every day.
Okay. One question. I see my what?
Oh, my email.
Email. My emails. Okay. Wasn't quite sure the pronunciation there. I use it to Facebook. I like that. That's unusual language. She's using Facebook as a verb, which is okay. Very good. Unusual language is smiled upon in the IELTS exam. Definitely would like to hear more detail. She just, a good answer is not just listing. Listing is okay. You know, they want to hear that you know how to list. They want to hear you do a list at some point in the test, mostly for the intonation. But a little more detail. An easy way to do that, and something not only an easy way to do it, but also will help you score points with more abstract language, possibly sentence structure as well, is to talk about your own personal experience. This question is about your own personal experience. Don't be afraid to go into detail. Two things, really. Don't be afraid to go into detail. Don't be afraid to talk about yourself. It's easier to use yourself as an example to talk about any topic, reading, art, children, meetings, whatever. Talk about your personal experience, and it really makes it easier. And you're able to provide more detailed information, which in turn translates into a higher score, frankly. So, all right. So, one way for this type of question, all right, a seemingly limited answer question, how often? You may think, well, what can I say about, how can I say two things with a how often or how much or how many or where do you do something, who do you do something with, when do you do something? Seems like a very direct question. A good response is to say, well, it depends. Okay? It depends. All right? By just starting out with, well, it depends. Great. You started out with a subordinating clause. You started out with a signal phrase. And now you have to. You forced an obligation on yourself to talk about at least two things. So you're going to kind of divide that question up into two parts to talk about it, which again, back to what I originally said, trying to think about two things you're going to talk about. By using the it depends strategy, you forced it on yourself. So, Jenny, I want you to take another crack at this. I want you to start by saying it depends. How often do you use your cell phone, Jenny?
So, do you want that I respond?
Yeah. I just want you to say it depends and then take it from there.
Okay, it depends. On weekends, I don't use the cell phone frequently. So because I want to rest and share with my family, I prefer to turn off my cell phone or turn in silent mode. But on weekdays, I need use my cell phone more often. So
Excellent. Okay. Now, by using it depends, I get a connective, but forces you to use a connective. It forces you to use comparative language more often. Okay, you're just forcing yourself to do a whole lot more with English, which is the point of the exam. So silent mode, notice when she was talking about details of her personal experience, she was using naturally much more detailed and topic relevant vocabulary. Silent mode, I switch it to silent mode. This is gold. This is IELTS gold. So second answer was maybe 7.5. Your first answer was a 5, frankly. Big difference. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Let's go on. Well, preference question. Let's try another one. I'm going to go to Tanya now. Tanya?
Okay.
Tanya, which do you prefer to use, a cell phone or a landline?
Actually, it's an interesting question because I use a cell phone now, and maybe 2 months ago I refused from line telephone because I think that I no need to use it. It costs money, but I don't use this phone because my friends, my relatives, and my dearest and nearest all call me on my cell phone, and there is internet in my phone, and there is a Viber program which helps me to communicate with my people in my contact free, without any money, without paying. And that's why I think that line phone, no, I don't need to use line phone. That's why I came to office where this company situated in my city, and I cancel this phone line.
Okay. Okay. Good detail. I like how you started. Actually, it's an interesting question because that's great. I've got actually, a subordinating clause, and then because, a connective. Nice way to start a question, actually, for the IELTS test. Actually. It's a preference question. So our normal, okay, try to think of 2 things to talk about is pretty easy because you're going to compare. You have no choice. That's the question. You need to compare the 2 things. So the 2 things rule is kind of automatic for a preference question. This is another very common question type in, especially in part 1. So, and it is a question type, period, that you will certainly get in the TOEFL exam. Here, first or second question, I think, is always a preference question in TOEFL. So, good to practice comparing more or less, all right, with adjectives. Definitely, that's what they're looking for. Okay, that's the question. Tonya also used her personal experience to fill out her answer and to give details, and that's how you do it. Good answer. I don't have anything specific. The end was a little confusing for me, but not particularly wrong. Just maybe unusual. I don't know. I don't know if I followed the thought to the end. But pretty good job, Tanya. Thank you. Okay. Let's try something a little weird here. little different. I'm gonna ask who's up next? Fan. Hi, Fan.
Yes.
Fan.
Hi.
Hi. There's a lot of topics. You just say stop. I'm gonna read a list of topics of part 1. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just tell me when to stop, and I'm gonna ask you a question relative to that
Okay.
topic.
Yeah.
Weekends, politeness, walking, advertising, animals, art.
Stop.
Art? Ooh, you picked a hard one. Okay. All right, art it is. Actually, I find this topic to be very difficult for many students, so I'm kind of glad that you did pick it. Okay. Okay. What kind of art? Ooh, kinds or types questions. Another typical IELTS question, but they may ask it different ways. For example, Fan, what kinds of art are you good at?
I think I'm good at listening to or appreciating the music, or especially in classic music. Uh, I think it's because the remedy will let me feel really comfortable and cozy. And besides, I think I'm also good at appreciating or viewing the painting. But actually, I'm not a good. I'm not. I'm not specialized in seeing it in seeing painting in a very high level way. So I just want to view it in just want to see it, and sometimes I will decorate my room with some painting. Yeah.
Okay. Nice job speaking at length over a tough one. What do you do when? Okay, obviously, Fan doesn't. You handle that well, first of all. Obviously, Fan doesn't do a lot of artistic work. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm good at painting. I'm good at drawing." Absolutely, he couldn't. So the problem is, what do you say when you have a topic like that where you don't really have any familiarity? One thing I have to mention in the IELTS test, it's okay to ask questions for clarification. If you ask, oh, what does a word mean? What does biazgablubeb mean? What does a word mean? Then you could lose points for vocabulary. But it's better to lose 1 point for vocabulary than lose 4 points by answering off topic with information that's not even related to the question. That's a good way to lose a lot of points on the test. It is much, much safer to ask a question. Fan, I bring this up because Fan could have said, well, I can't really tell you about artistic endeavors that I'm good at because I'm not good at any. Can I tell you about some art that I appreciate, or can I tell you about art that I'm really bad at? You can clarify. You can ask. You can do this. You can kind of control a little bit your own fate here, as long as it's related to the question and it's the idea is talking about types of things. As long as it's still following the idea, the interviewer is going to let you do that. He'll allow that. For sure, as an interviewer, I would allow you to talk about things that you're not good at if you wanted.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, pretty good job. Actually, although it might have been better to clarify, say, well, I'm really not good at any kind of art, but I'll tell you what I have a great appreciation for. And then, okay, nice job talking about 2 things, music and painting.
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. In the Verbling chat box, Miriam. Hello, Miriam. If you want to book a trial class with me or any one-on-one class with me, just check my availability. I frequently update my availability. So anyway, just check. Whenever I'm available, then you're allowed to take classes. So no problem. Okay. Cornell, you've got a virus? Cornell, can you talk now? I mean, I know you can talk, but can we hear you?
Yes, I am here. Hi.
Hi. So
Can
you
you
got a...
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, okay, because I had some connection problem and I got some virus yesterday and I try to survive it at the moment.
Survive it.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. Okay. Well, there's a topic. Computer viruses. Okay. You may or may not. In part one, you may or you may not get an opinion question. Some do, some don't. Cornell, let me ask you a basic type of opinion question you might hear in part one of the IELTS. Cornell, is it necessary in this day and age, in the modern age, is it necessary to have a computer?
There may be it, yes. Yes, it is essential in my life. So yeah, keeping touch with friends and regarding companies, it is the most important things to deal with business and something like that. Yeah, and we don't leave computer anymore. It is in my point of view.
Okay, in my point of view, there we go. Okay. All right, that's what I needed. I needed a couple points, a couple reasons. If you're going to give an opinion, then your supporting points are going to be reasons why you think so. So go ahead and okay, Fan. See you in a minute. Anyway, you're on the right track there. It'd be nice to first hear your opinion. Okay, in my opinion, you can say from my point of view, you can easily make this a personal thing in IELTS. This is not wrong. They ask general questions more or less as a trap. It's a trick to try to get you confused by trying to speak very, very generally. It is difficult. It is difficult for me to speak completely generally about these topics simply because English is not designed that way. That's not how we speak. When we speak, we give examples of those things to explain them with specific detail. We give points with detail. It's difficult for native speakers to answer questions very generally. So that's quite a general question. It's a general opinion question, right? But good job trying to make it more personal and attacking the question from okay, Miriam, see you tomorrow. Attacking the question from that perspective. You could say, okay, Artheli, I like that. You could say I surveyed the population and 89% need a computer in their everyday life. Okay, good point. I almost forgot to mention. Stupid me. I almost forgot to mention. Yeah, nobody's going to fact check you after your IELTS exam. No one's going to track you home and make sure that you described your apartment adequately. They're not going to do that. They don't have a system of IELTS spies to track you down and check your information. In other words, You can make up any old thing that you want to. It's not a big deal. In fact, the correct answer, for example, in a preference question, is not really the correct answer. The correct answer is to talk about the thing that you can talk about in more detail. So even if you don't really feel what you're saying you feel, or you don't, even if it's not really your opinion, it doesn't really matter. The idea is to talk as much as possible. So the correct choice, especially part 2, tomorrow we're going to do part 2 questions, lengthy description. What is the truth is irrelevant, completely irrelevant. What you want to talk about, especially for a long answer, is whatever you can talk about more. No, it would actually be perfectly okay to say this, Araceli. I know you meant it jokingly, but you can make not only can you make up information, you can make up references. A recent newspaper article I read showed that 89% of the population in North America believes the computer is essential for their everyday life. Great. It's a great way to add detail, and nobody's going to fact check you. So it doesn't matter. It's a great and easy way to add examples, and especially for opinion. It's actually a great technique. You were joking, but it's actually a wonderful technique. Not just
Okay, so you can say I've read something about that, or I read about a survey that says maybe you can made it up because, as you say, they are not going to check it.
That's right. Or I recently saw a documentary. I read the newspaper. I was reading a science journal in the doctor's office yesterday, and I read that. Sure, the more, frankly, the more sort of off the wall your made up reference is, the more detail. I was sitting in the doctor's office yesterday, and I happened to pick up a science journal where I read that 89% of all butterflies live to be 110. Whatever. Sure. Absolutely. And not just in reading, speaking, I'm sorry, but also writing. You can do the same thing, because you will have an opinion question in writing, actually. Okay. I'm going to take it back to Mai. Hi, Mai.
Yes.
Okay, ready? I'm going to continue reading topics. You just say stop when you want me to. I want to also give you guys an idea of some of these topics. All right, just tell me when to stop, and I'm going to ask you a question about it. All right? Bicycles, birds, birthdays, books, children, city life, clothes and fashion, collecting things. Mai, you can stop me whenever you're ready. Colors, computers, cooking, daily routine. Mai, I could sit here for the rest of the class, so you got to stop me sooner or later. Dancing, drawing, driving, emails. Mai, are you still there? Okay. Where are we? Flowers, letters, magazines, mobile phones, newspapers, painting, reading. Mai, you didn't stop me.
Teacher, excuse me. In fact, I don't get you. Yes.
I said just stop me.
I
was asking you to stop me. I'm reading the topics. Just say, okay, and I will ask you a question about that topic. Okay, but since you didn't, I'm just going to pick one at random. Sometimes they will ask you questions about abstract things, so fine. We're going to talk about politeness, Mai. Okay. Okay. General question. Now, this is a tough one. General, when they ask you to define something, this is actually a tough question. Let's see how Mai deals with it. What is politeness in your opinion, Mai?
What is politics?
What is politeness in your opinion?
Polite.
Politeness.
What is politeness?
Yes, in your opinion. Being polite.
Politeness, I think that it includes the behavior in every action, be, including the speed, the thought, and the action you do to everyone, and the respect you want to you ask to everyone. So if you polite if you behave politely to everyone, so you will receive the respectation from other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Interesting, right at the end there. I attempted to do something which you should do at some point in the IELTS test. Actually, a very common type question we haven't done yet is a would question. Would you do something? Maybe we'll try that next. But what I'm talking about is my attempted to use a conditional sentence, an if clause sentence. If you behave politely, all right, present tense, behave, others will, that's correct, future tense, others will behave politely to you. Kind of messed up the sentence structure a little at the end, but you had the verb tenses right, which is the main point. Okay, that's great. Using conditional sentences, relative clauses, infinitive clauses, and gerund clauses. Most certainly, this is these types of upper level, this is 7, 8, 9 score. Band scores run to 9. This is 7, 8, 9 level things to do. Okay, you weren't completely clear. You're a little hesitant in your delivery, a little stoppy, starty, a little bit, your rhythm wasn't as good as it could be, okay? And you seemed a little unsure. Believe it or not, your degree of sureness or confidence on the test, although it's not directly scored, it is indirectly scored because they are going to be listening to your intonation and if your English sounds natural. That actually is going to end up in 2 parts of the scoring, pronunciation over here and over here, your fluency. So your confidence level is going to be scored, whether, not exactly specifically, but most certainly if you're pausing and you use question rising intonation, people will behave politely to you. You're not sure, whatever, that does get scored. It comes out one way or the other. So fake it. Fake your confidence. That is another part. Politeness is something, and then you said that is include. Not that is include. That includes. Okay? That includes something, whatever. Okay. All right, Khaled. Now here's an interesting kind of question. Here's something we also haven't done. Past tense. Khaled, when you were a child, who taught you to be polite? Khaled, are you there? Khaled? Oh, okay. Maybe he stepped out. Artheli, see you next time. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Teacher,
Okay.
when we be the bathroom?
Sorry?
When we be the bathroom, the class. I want to know the next class of IELTS speaking.
Tomorrow, same time. Same time as
Tomorrow.
today. Tomorrow,
Okay.
we're going to look at part 2 questions. That's the long-term question. So lots of practice speaking at length tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Mulham. I have a question for Mulham, but Mulham has a question for Cornell. Cornell, is that a picture of your baby?
Yes. Yeah. He's my baby, and he's 7 months old.
Okay. Detail. We want detail. It's IELTS practice, Cornell. So give us more detail.
Yeah.
Okay.
My baby is able to scroll at the moment, so we have to take care of him every time.
Okay. You have to watch him every minute.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Mulham, you were saying go for color, so I'm going to ask you a question about colors. Let's see. Here's an interesting, specific. Now this is a very specific question. If you were to paint the walls of your room, what color would you choose? Notice this question is actually in the form of a conditional sentence, unreal or second conditional. If you were to if you were to paint the walls of your room, what color would you choose?
I would choose. That's actually a very easy question for me because I always think about this thing, painting rooms and the decoration of my house. So I would paint it greenish blue because I love this color. It's a very optimistic color, and it's very open. It's like the sky, the color of the sky and the color of the nature combined into one color. So I really do love this color.
Great.
It will be definitely a greenish blue.
Okay. All right. Using a comparison as an example to explain it. That's great. Terrific. Using examples. Great. Of course, if you get a question like this, or any, even more simply, what color would you choose to paint your room? All right, not stated as a conditional, but it is an excellent opportunity to use a conditional sentence. Well, if I were to have a choice, okay, all right, this is an easy question for me because I have thought about it before. All right, that's a good start, but you could then say use a conditional sentence to actually, score points, doing complex things to make sure you're scoring points. Okay, we've only got like a minute or less left. Does anybody have any other general questions about IELTS, TOEFL, Part 1 questions, scoring, anything? No? Okay. I have to close the class now. I'll be right back with a conversation class, more practice speaking English, actually quite related to this class, but only on one topic. I'll be asking the styles of question about dancing in the very next class. Tomorrow, same time, IELTS Part 2, speaking questions. Thank you very much. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Jay.